A fairy tale, family drama, horror movie? Let's talk about Wild-Eyed and Wicked. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I'm here to talk to you about Wild-Eyed and Wicked, which is coming to digital and on demand on June 11th, 2024. It is a kind of fresh and interesting, like fairy tale horror movie that I absolutely loved. I thought it was really great. It's got like a little mix of a lot of different things, and it comes together in a nice kind of slow burn horror family drama. My hot take, as you can tell. I think you should watch it. It's an unconventional story that's part fairy tale, part horror movie, part family drama. It mixes these elements all together to tell a fresh and interesting story about personal and actual demons. I really enjoyed it. It was slow, but I like that about it. I like that it took its time. I like that it really kind of emphasized the scenery, emphasized some of the interpersonal drama. So I just enjoyed this movie a lot. I am very excited about it. So I'm going to tell you a little about the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into the ending. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the ending section. If you don't want to know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off when you get to the ending section. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler free. I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So, Wild-Eyed and Wicked follows Lily Pierce, who is a fencing instructor. She's living in the city, and she's dealing with some family trauma from a really traumatic event that happened when she was young. All of this comes to a head when her father calls her back to her family house, where she now has to confront this trauma and these demons that she has been dealing with, both personal and actual. Is she able to overcome them? Is she able to kind of like move past this? And why is she wearing a suit of armor in the poster? Well, you'll have to watch the movie to find out. So, things I liked about this movie. The first, I love the opening. It is a fantastic, tense opening. It starts off kind of light feeling, and then it moves really quickly into a more traditional kind of like horror opening that starts with a bang, and it really just kind of like hooks you right from the start. The second thing I love the music. It has really great music throughout. It is like sinister when it needs to be, when you're a little bit unsettled, but also dreamlike at times when it's going into like the more fairy tale, medieval kind of like sequences, like when she's in the forest, when she's experiencing like some of the natural beauty around her. You get a very different kind of like dreamlike music that I love. It's a nice contrast, and it helps to kind of like emphasize the beauty around her. The third thing I love the slow burn. It is a nice kind of like really slow pace after that explosive opening. It starts off with a bang, but then it goes into a more kind of like measured pace as you learn more about Lily's backstory, about her family, and about the things that she is dealing with. It is a nice, very nice horror, like simmering, slow build that just gradually ratchets up. I loved it. The fourth thing I loved, it's creepy. It has some really creepy scenes, just some really good use of what they had to give you some unsettling sequences, some kind of like unsettling moments. Just a really nice way of using technology and using what Lily has at her disposal to keep you on edge throughout. It does have some jump scares, but they feel earned. They don't feel like they're cheap. They don't feel like they're there to just like give you a scare. They feel like they're there to kind of keep you on edge and keep the kind of like unsettling feeling that is kind of stalking Lily throughout. The fifth thing I love, practical effects. This film has practical effects, and I loved it. Like there's probably a few little like CG highlights. I know there's some CG highlights here and there, but for the most part, this film airs on the practical side, and it looks really good. There are some grotesque things that it has that look fantastic. There are some things that Lily sees that look unsettling, and they all seem to be on the practical side. It really helps with your like suspension of disbelief. Really helps you kind of like hold your breath at these moments when the things that are happening don't look like they are out of place. And the last thing I love the writing. It has some really good writing, some fun conversations. A lot of the buildup here is conversations between Lily and her family, and Lily and other people, and it's just really fun to listen to. They've got some really sharp writing, some really kind of like interesting moments. And when the film is a lot of conversation, it really helps that the writing is very good. So all that being said, there really wasn't much I didn't like about it. I actually liked this movie a lot, so I definitely think you should check it out when it comes to digital and on demand on June 11th, 2024. The film is Wild-Eyed and Wicked. Definitely check it out, and if you do, let me know what you thought. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. Let me know what I got right and wrong. I would love to hear it, and I'm going to go into the ending very quickly. Well, probably not actually quickly, but I'm going to try and make it quick. It is a long movie. It's about an hour, 40 minutes, so I will go as quickly as I can, but just be warned, there will be spoilers. So, like I said, Wild-Eyed and Wicked starts off with a bang, and what a bang it is. You've got a young Lily in her family home. She is obsessed with birds. She's obsessed with the Middle Ages. She's like listening to bird sounds and identifying them. She has like a tape recorder of different bird sounds. It's kind of a sweet opening. It's like a young Lily in her bedroom. You're like, oh, this is great. This will be fun. And then she hears a noise, and you're like, uh-oh, this is not going to turn out well. She grabs a wooden sword and sneaks downstairs. And outside you see this like disheveled looking woman in a dress kind of like walking around in her front driveway, and you're like, this is not good. And then that woman, she seems to be crying. She seems to be crying. She seems to be pacing back and forth. Then she turns to Lily and says, "Lily James, I think her middle name is James. Says, Lily James Pierce, you get in this house right now. You do not follow me." And you see that it's her mother, and her mother has these like scratches down her face. She looks very, very bad. Looks like she, has been in a fight with something. And Lily gets scared and hides. Her mother gets in her truck and drives away. And somehow Lily is able to sneak into that truck. I don't know how. I mean, we'll just kind of allow it because it makes for a more interesting later scene. Her mother drives in the middle of the woods. Lily's in the truck. She kind of like follows. And then when she gets in the middle of the woods, she gets out and kind of like walks into the middle of like a clearing. And Lily's hiding back there, like watching her doing this. And her mother like gets into the middle of the clearing, kind of like gets down on her knees, looks like she's talking to someone. She kind of turns her head to talk to someone. And then she stands up, pulls out a gun, and just shoots herself in the head. And like, and Lily starts screaming because obviously she's screaming. Feels like something else is like affecting her though, because Lily tried to reach her mother, and then when her mother killed herself, Lily like was pushed to the ground by some spectral force, and then she starts screaming. She starts like contorting, and that is when adult Lily in her bed is screaming, and she wakes up, and she was having a nightmare. This was the traumatic experience that has been kind of like haunting her since she was a kid. And you find out adult Lily is still dealing with this trauma. She has a therapist who's played by Colleen Camp, who you might know from Clue and other 80s movies. And she is just trying to kind of like live her life and move past this trauma that happened when she was a kid. She's a fencing instructor. Somehow she affords a nice apartment in the city as a fencing instructor. I don't know, I guess they get paid really well. I guess if you want to fence, there's only so many people that can teach you. So she has this nice apartment in the city. She has a girlfriend. She seems like she is doing well, but you can tell that that trauma is still following her. And you can tell that this trauma is still following her, because, A, from the nightmare, and then B, she is having a date with her girlfriend. They have dinner, and then afterwards they start to like make out and take pictures of each other. And while she's taking pictures of her girlfriend, one of the pictures, you see this like black inky hand like reach over and like grab her girlfriend's shoulder, and Lily just freezes, and her girlfriend's like, what's going on? Her girlfriend didn't see it, only Lily saw it through her phone. And then later that night, when they're sleeping, Lily has another nightmare, wakes up thrashing and thrashes her girlfriend. So you can tell that this is still affecting Lily. It is something that has followed her since she was a kid. It's something that she still kind of experiences. And all of this comes to a head when her father calls her and says they're approaching the 20th anniversary of your mom's death, of her death, and so it might be time to go through her things. Lily doesn't want to do this. She ran away from her home. She, didn't love that experience, but she goes back anyways. And when she gets there, you can tell that there is some distance between her and her father. It's like a very robotic meeting when they first meet. And I love this because she like comes up to the house. She's about to knock on the door. She doesn't. She just stands there. Her father, I guess, hears the car and like comes up from the side, and just like they stand about 10 feet apart. And he probably hasn't seen her in years. And they have this really brief conversation where she's like, "Can I have a drink?" And he's like, I don't drink." She's like, "I just meant like a tea." He's like, "Okay." And then it's a very kind of strained relationship. And you can see that both from the physical distance and the kind of awkwardness in both of their characters, which I loved. It was her father felt a little bit robotic in this, and I think it's just because he was so nervous. Now you can tell that Lily harbors some anger at her father because that night he makes her some dinner and they're talking, and Lily makes some crude remarks to her father while he's trying to like have a conversation, trying to update her on his life. So it sounds like Lily still has a lot of anger, probably from her mother's death, and you find out a little bit more later. Like later on, you find out, I think it's not 100% clear, but this is kind of what I gathered. So her father was a respected Middle Ages professor. And I think Lily's mother was a TA in that class. And they ended up having, hooking up. He ended up getting her pregnant. And that is where Lily came from. Lily was the result of that. And so they got married because of Lily, because Lily was born, but this cost her father his career. He got fired. He couldn't, be a professor again. And so he kind of like, it seemed like wallowed after this. And Lily's mother kind of took up the brunt of like keeping everything together, keeping the family together, keeping the house together. And it seems like this bred a lot of resentment in Lily that that happened. She felt like her father didn't like do enough, didn't like do enough for her. Her mother was very unhappy. It seems she had relationships outside of the marriage, and it seems like Lily kind of blames her father for driving her mother out and then eventually like killing herself. So that's kind of the backstory you get from this film. But onto the supernatural stuff, onto the scarier stuff. So one night at the house, Lily is like meditating and falling asleep, and then she wakes up and she sees something down the hall. It's like a light down the hall. And so she goes down the hall and sees the television on, like an older style television is on, and it's like showing a video, like a black and white video of like a clearing in the forest. And she gets up to it and like turns the volume up to here. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, haven't you seen The Ring? This doesn't end well. You go into a room with like an old style television on. Don't get close to it. Turn that thing off and leave. Like something is going to climb out. Nothing climbs out of the TV, but as Lily's turning up the volume, the TV turns off. She goes to turn the TV back on and something grabs her and she freaks out. She, turns, looks towards the doorway, and there you see this like dark figure, this like black figure with glowing yellow eyes. And Lily gets freaked out by it. Lights turn on. Her father's there. That the creature's gone, but Lily is concerned. She kind of tells her father about this. He's like, "Oh, you must have been sleepwalking. Like sometimes when you're sleepwalking, you can manifest things." And she's like, "No, it wasn't sleepwalking." So her father tries to comfort her, and Lily mentions that there's something out in the woods, and he's like, "There's nothing out in the woods." And Lily says that there is something there that took hold of her when mom died and hasn't left her. And that is, I think that black hand, that is that creature she keeps seeing, this like dark creature with glowing yellow eyes. She thinks that that took a hold of her when her mom committed suicide and hasn't let go. And she says that this must be something that has run in our family because she mentions that I think his father or his mother had it, and before that, one of their grandparents had it. So she thinks that there is something following them throughout the generations, and now it's attached to Lily. So Lily also eventually asks, like, why her dad is being so nice to her. Why is her dad like trying to make an effort? Why did her dad invite her out here? And he says, when you get, older in life, when you get closer to death, you want to make amends. And he said, my mother did it. She was hard, she was a hard woman. She was a hard life. But when she was about to die, she wanted to make amends. And he's like, and I'm doing it too. And she's like, what? And she's like, yep, I've got cancer. I think it was a 70% chance of survival. So there is a chance, but he is at least staring death in the face. And so he wants to make amends with his daughter and kind of like fix those things in his life. So that's why he brought her out here. That's why he's trying to like make a connection with her. And I think this might soften her a little bit. But what really helps is that when she is sleeping one night, she has a vision or a dream of her mom, something her mom said when she thought she was asleep. Her mom was telling her some fairy tales, and Lily wanted to hear more. And she's like, "No, you're not old enough for that." And after Lily had fallen asleep, her mother's talking to herself, and mentions this thing called Old Yellow Eyes, who's wild and wicked. Well, but wild eyes and wicked. Um, so that jogs that memory in Lily's head, and she starts going through her father's Middle Ages research books, looking for something about Old Yellow Eyes. Now, her father, who is a Middle Ages professor, helps her as well, notices one of the books and realizes that one of the pages is torn out. So he pulls out this box that Lily's mother had of different things that she wrote and collected. It's a collection of things from her mother. And he said, everything in this box should be burned, but if there's something useful, you can have it. And one of those pages is this torn yellow page. In that box, in the page, there's something about this demon that Lily seems to be wrestling with, this yellow eyes demon. And now that she is getting closer, it seems like the demon is also getting a little bit more aggressive. Then the demon starts harassing her via text message, and there's this really great sequence where she's looking at her phone and she gets a bunch of texts, and it's pictures of her girlfriend. Like one is her girlfriend like in bed, and she starts smiling, and then it goes to like her girlfriend choking, like being choked, and then her girlfriend like with her eyes open and blood coming out of her nose. And then the next picture is a picture of Lily on the bed from the doorway. And she like looks up and turns and nothing's there. She starts exploring the house. She hears something weird. Something tries to get her while she's exploring the house. And then she gets some texts. Then she gets some texts of her father sleeping in his bed and the phone getting closer and closer and closer. So she runs in to see if he's okay. He's okay, but Lily is obviously spooked. So Lily kind of comes to the conclusion that she needs to confront this demon. From her mother's writings and the things that she's researching, she has to confront this demon. And so you attack this demon that like feeds on her fear, feeds on her pain with something that you love. And so her mother loved medieval fairy tales and medieval information and medieval stories, and so she crafted this suit of armor to fight the demon. So Lily adopts that suit of armor. She puts the suit of armor on, she gets ready, she uses like a broadsword and starts training with that to get ready to fight the demon. So Lily suits up finally, she goes into the woods, she's ready to fight the demon, and when she's out there, the demon starts talking to her and it says, I didn't kill your mother. I tried to stop her. She says, it says, I showed you what would happen to you if she was gone. And then we see a vision of like her mother when she killed herself. And it's her mother talking to the demon and says, and she tells the demon, it feeds you, doesn't it? This pain, I can feel it. You're trying to trick me. I can't take it anymore. So her mother like couldn't take the pain. She couldn't take like the demon feeding on her. The demon says, then just leave. And her mother says, I'd rather die than let Lily think that she didn't love me. Because I think her mother, like, I think the pain was affecting her mother and it was affecting how, her relationship with Lily, I guess. And so she said she would rather die than like let Lily anticipate that. I don't know. I mean, it seems like a silly reason to kill yourself because then, the demon is going to attach onto Lily, but her mother did that. And that is when the demon attached onto Lily. So now, after we see this scene, the demon, as Lily's mother, comes out and attacks her. Lily fights her off, stabs her, but it doesn't seem to hurt the demon much. Lily does survive, though. The demon doesn't kill her. She gets back, and now she has to figure out what to do. She has to figure out why it didn't work. Like, she used the thing that her mother loved to attack the demon, and it didn't help. Well, that was the thing her mother loved. Lily's dad says, maybe it has to be something that you love. And so Lily like goes through memories and remembers this like crown of holly berries that her mother had made her one time. And Lily seems really happy. Her mother seemed really happy. It seemed like it was from a better time. And so she gets some holly berries with her dad and prepares like an ointment with it and wipes it on the sword. Her dad wipes it on a dagger and gets a little vial of it. And so now Lily goes back out a little bit more prepared and starts fighting the demon. And when she slashes the demon this time, it hurts. And she's like, holly berries, they're poison. And it seems like it is affecting the demon. Now, unfortunately, the demon still is a good fighter. And so she injures Lily and they have a brutal fight. She injures Lily. And she's about to attack Lily more, and we hear some music. Now, her father had set up a trap also, and as her father was like coming to help, Lily's girlfriend pulled up, saying she hadn't heard from Lily in a little bit, and she wanted to check on her. And so her father and Lily's girlfriend go out there to set this trap. And as the demon was about to attack Lily, they start blaring some music to draw the demon out. When the demon leaves, her dad comes to like help her to bandage her. And Lily's like, Dad, what can we do? I wasn't enough. And her dad's like, no, that's not right. You're fighting it just like your mother did. And he says, if I wasn't such a coward, maybe I could have helped her. Maybe things would have been different. And he says, you didn't cower like I always did. And so he's like supporting Lily. He's like helping her out. He's realizing that he should have helped her mother rather than just like kind of go off into his little world and ignore everything. So he's taking some responsibility. He's helping his daughter. And then he says, we need this thing drowning in poison, not just slashed by it. And he says, I love you, Lily. I always have. I should have told you this 100 times. Let me be the father I should have always been to you. And then he downs the hollyberry juice, that vial of hollyberry juice he grabbed. He downs it and heads into the forest. Lily follows a little slower because she is in pain, but she follows. And when Lily gets there, we see the demon feeding on her dad, like drinking his blood, like it gashed his neck and is drinking his blood. And so Lily gets up there and stops when she sees Lily and drops her dad. Lily tells her girlfriend who attacked the demon earlier but couldn't do anything to like help her dad stop the bleeding. And Lily starts fighting the demon. And as they're fighting, the demon starts to vomit. It seems like it ingested a lot of that hollyberry juice from her dad's blood, and now it's starting to affect the demon. And so Lily eventually manages to get it down on its knees, and then she raises the sword. The demon tries to trick her. And Lily's like, you're not my mom. My mom was human. She died long ago, and you are not her. And then she stabs the demon in the face. You don't see the actual stabbing. You see her get the sword down, and then you see the blade hit the ground. So she stabs the demon. She kills the demon. Seems like the demon's dead. The yellow eyes fade, and it seems like she has finally conquered this thing that has been haunting her family for years. So the next scene, we see Lily and Willow. Willow is her girlfriend, carrying her dad back. Her dad seems very much in pain. Seems like he is, in a lot. He seems like he's very weak. He had a lot of blood, taken from him. He also is drowning in hollyberry juice. Not a great situation. Her dad says 70% chance, and And Lily turns to him and says, "We're here now. That's all that matters. That's all that matters." So it seems like in his, he was able to redeem himself. He was finally the dad he should have been to her. It seems like she has forgiven him. They've conquered the demon. It seems like their relationship will be better. I hope he survives, but you don't know because that's the end of the movie. That is Wild Eyed and Wicked. It comes to digital and on demand on June 11th, 2024. Like I said, I really liked it. I thought it was a really nice kind of like mix of different genres. It tells a really good story. I loved the setting. It's a beautiful setting in the woods. It has just a nice slow burn story, and it is fairly different. Like, how many movies do you see someone fighting in a suit of armor? So I definitely think you should check it out when it comes to digital and on demand on June 11th, 2024. And if you do check it out, let me know what you thought. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I would love to hear it. Let me know what I got right and wrong. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.